Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 22-year-old competitive bowler from Canada, currently living near Toronto. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I'll record most of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. So today we have a very hype day of training for our morning session, and that's because we're finally getting my buddy Ben on a video. So you've heard me mention Ben's name from time to time over the videos, and he is my longtime training partner, childhood friend. Ben and I grew up climbing together at Climbers Rocks. You know, we met each other when we were like 9 or 10, and we started training together all the time. We were both very psyched, and Ben, we pushed each other super hard. We were like always neck and neck in terms of our climbing ability, and we were like the perfect pairing to sort of train together and like push each other really well. And he definitely helped me motivate me over the years and get me to where I am today. And like this kid is like really strong. So he's always sort of like when we were kids, especially, he's been known as like the short kid. He's not so short anymore, but when he was like a kid, he was, especially because he was like little and he used to be a gymnast as well. This guy could just do all these sort of crazy feats of strength, like on like gymnastic springs. He can like do all these exercises. He could always like, hang on a hangboard like easily, I don't know, on a small edge with like one hand since he was a child. Like he did like a 20-second front lever or something when he was 12 or something. Just like one of these kids, one of the monster, just like super strong kids. And not much has changed. If anything has changed, he's just gotten stronger. And you'll notice it when we're climbing on the moonboard today. Our styles contrast quite a lot. A lot of these boulders that we do, especially because I'm like, the moonboard boulders are really sort of like don't really suit me very well. The moonboard is a sort of weakness I find in myself, just the climbing style. Meanwhile, it suits Ben really well. So you'll notice the difference between our styles throughout the video. I often have to like sort of use my height to my advantage sometimes, or use my feet more than Ben does, because he can just like, check it. Here's a great example of the way he's trying this first move of this bowler versus the way I try the first move of this bowler. This guy's got like fingers of steel, and so these crimps are all like little jugs for him. And then the only way that the moonboard bowlers are going to stop him is because of how big the moves are. Whereas like I find what suits me better are the hard moves and sort of the way that like the hard movements themselves. That's where I'm going to excel on these bowlers, and I'm the opposite of him. Whereas the crimps are going to make me struggle because my fingers are not nearly as strong as him. So I'm going to have a hard time holding the holds, like a harder time holding the holds than he will, but I'll have a better time doing the moves, and he's obviously the opposite. So it makes for like an interesting way to train together, because I find that oftentimes I can't try the way he's trying a bowler, and he can't try the way I'm trying a bowler. Like I didn't even imagine trying the way he's doing this first move, where he's sort of like doing this sort of one arm float to this first crimp. I can't load this left hand like he is, because it's not super good, but he's just got insane fingers. And so I have to just sort of jump to it. And it's the way he's doing it as well as kind of making this first move a lot nicer, because he can take his weight, his center of gravity away from the wall, and sort of jump up in a completely straight line for this hold, so that it really minimizes his swing, his backswing from the overhang of the moonboard. Whereas because I can't do this and I have to just jump from inside the wall, I have to take a swing, and that's sort of a good example of why he's doing this first move all the time, and I'm only able to stick it every once in a while. And this is just an advantage of having super strong fingers. It allows him to do something like this. And so this session is actually going to be really fun, and I'm glad to get him on a video, because obviously all the time we're making these comp climbs, it's just like me climbing, and you don't get to see my style contrasted with anyone else. And because we get to watch Ben and I climb these boulders, it's actually a great way to sort of analyze a lot of these movements as well. It's pretty fun. So we're having a moonboard session, obviously. Ben is like super psyched on the moonboard. He trains on this moonboard all the time. We're at Basecamp today in Toronto. And he's just like, one of the people who can just name all these moonboard climbs off the top of his head. He loves to train on this thing because he's psyched to climb outside these days. And this is obviously a great training tool for outdoor bowlers. And even I hop on it from time to time to just train finger strength. And so the way our moonboard sessions go down is I just show up to the gym, and Ben's like, okay, I'm just going to take you on the moonboard tour. I don't even have to think. I just like turn my brain off, and Ben has his phone out, and he's just like scrolling through the boulders, putting things in front of my face to try. So he started us off on some crimps. I was definitely struggling with this boulder quite a lot at first. I was definitely quite a little bit fatigued from our first couple days of training, but I was able to recover decently well on the rest day, and so I had just enough energy to keep up with Ben today. And so I like obviously I said I was struggling on this boulder for a while. You'll notice I was falling all over it, and then I get the send here, and that's going to be my tip of the day from today. It's a very quick one. And actually, before I mention it, I want to just show you like how much of a monster Ben is. So after trying that yellow boulder, especially since we were just grabbing the sort of the same line of crimps over and over again, that was very fatiguing for me. And so Ben's like, oh, okay, let's try Shattered Mercy next, which is, I guess, is like one of only a couple benchmark V12s on this set. And I'm like, okay, I can't, I didn't really think that I could try this another like, yellow crimp line again. And meanwhile, Ben is just like, he can climb on this moonboard for hours and hours and not get tired. And meanwhile, that first boulder just zaps my finger strength. So you'll see that I can't even touch this boulder, and he's just like walking up it. I guess he's fallen this last move here like a few times, and this is his project. He's trying to send it, but he cruises through these beginning moves, and I can't even touch this boulder. Like, Ben is really strong. He's probably got like top five fingers in Ontario at least top 10 in Canada, like super strong fingers. The way he warms up, he starts off by like hanging around on the hangboard for a while. He doesn't go hop on the climbing wall until he's doing like one arm hangs off of the small Beastmaker rungs. The rungs that I'm training two hands on right now. Like that's like my default training for my hangboards is to like, do my two hands weighted crimps, and then he just warms up with one hand hangs on them. So yeah, this that boulder Shattered Mercy was really up his alley. So yeah, like I was saying, for today's tip of the day, it's nothing revolutionary by any means. It's quite a simple tip of the day, but like I also have caveated a lot of my tips of the day with the fact that a lot of them are not revolutionary, and they're simply just reminders. It can be very easy to just learn something, and even like a basic climbing technique or a way to train, and just forget to put it into practice all the time because you sort of get comfortable in your mindset of like, okay, I know how to do this. I do this all the time. I know when to apply it, and then slowly you forget it and it fades away a bit. So these tips today, I also just like to iterate something that was like super potent and super relevant for me on a day of training, and it can be something super simple, but like for today I was really, really emphasizing just breathing. And it's like, okay, breathing, this is, of course, all of our youth coaches have said, oh, what is the most important thing to do in climbing? To breathe. And it's not a revolutionary thing, but it's just very easy to forget and overlook not emphasizing it. And especially I think the sort of twist that I want to take on this, just simply breathing advice, is that it's also very important during high volume training phase. And so this seemed pretty self-explanatory. Like, it's important all the time, but like I was definitely feeling a bit tired today. My body was like feeling okay, but my fingers were definitely gassed from like all of the spray wall training and then the hangboard again, like doing hangboard for the first time in a little bit. And so I found that they were just fine. They were like a little bit tired, but they were fine. But if I want to keep up with Ben on these like really hard boulders, I can't just have like fine feeling finger strength. I got to be feeling strong to do these boulders. And so what I really had to do on that yellow boulder, like you'll notice I wasn't that close to the yellow boulder, and then all of a sudden I stick that move for like the first time or something, and then I send it. And it's simply because I took 20 seconds before I sent the boulder to just stand in front of the wall and breathe super hard and aggressively and like exaggerate it and get myself really fired up and just breathe really, really hard. And it, especially when we're trying boulders like that are like short and sweet, like on the moonboard, and are just like packed with powerful moves, and we're in a high volume training phase where we're going to be tired and sort of our body's just going to want to be as dormant as possible throughout this whole high volume training phase because it's trying to recover from all the training it's doing. It's really hard to like bring out your best, and that's why it's like hard to perform in a high volume training cycle. But a way we can try and optimize is by breathing. So here's another example. I'm about to send this boulder here, like an 11 benchmark that Ben put me on, and I was like, you notice how I messed up my foot there at the start. Like for this boulder, I'm like trying to be as efficient as possible because this move is so hard. And so as soon as I hit this crimp and I like messed up, you'd think it would be over. But actually what I did again is like, before this boulder, I like stood for like a good 20-30 seconds. I got really fired up and I was like really breathing. And what this does is it just, it gets more blood, it gets more oxygen in your blood, it gets more blood to your fingers. And it's just, if you emphasize your powerful breathing, like give it a good 20-30 seconds of really over exaggerating it, it's just going to help your body like really activate and supercharge itself. And I I said this to Ben, I think, while we're trying these boulders. I'm like, I feel like I'm boosting my finger power by 20% when I just breathe really hard and get really fired up. Whereas if I was just kind of like laxy daily, walk up to the wall, hop on, not really think, it's not. It's like I'm just gonna be like too chilled out, especially because my body is in like super tired during this high volume training phase. Even already after a couple days of training, like on my rest day when I woke up, I was so sore and exhausted. But like the way that we are going to get maximum value from our attempts during like a hard training cycle like that, like this, is to just really use like our breathing as best as we can. And it's such a powerful tool to give quality attempts when it's like at a time where it's very hard for our body to do so. And I was really finding it was also quite important to do this on the moon board, where we're not doing any easy moves on these boulders. They're just like, it's like really powerful, and I got to be trying really hard, especially because a lot of these moves are sort of like weaknesses of mine. But yeah, this is sort of wrapping up a very fun session training with Ben on the moon board. Like these sessions are just so hype. Like I like the moon board. It's not my favorite. I definitely like a spray wall better, but training with Ben on this wall, like just the psych itself is worth it. So we're definitely going to be coming back to Basecamp to climb with Ben a lot more on the moon board and feature some more hype sessions. So it was off to Climbers Rock for the second session. I had to rest a little bit longer than I normally do. I rested for probably like 4 hours this time because like moonboard training is so exhausting for me. Like these two sessions were really hard to execute back to back, especially just like starting this high volume training program. It's sort of like hitting me as like, okay, it's gonna be hard. These next 4 weeks are gonna be hard. This is not fun training. This is not the time for fun training. Like, of course, it is fun, and it's like you find satisfaction in just the high volume training itself. It's like fun to like grind out these sessions and really break the body. But then I'm sort of remembering now that it's not fun to have a broken body. It's fun to break the body, but it's not fun to be feeling broken. I was just really so you know how I like to talk about sort of a way that I get fired up for my boulders is I stand at the wall and I breathe, but I also like to swing my arms. There's a lot of reasons for this. First of all, it just kind of gets blood to the arms. It kind of just is like almost like a nice power pose and gets your mind like nice and psyched up to go give a try hard attempt. But and so yeah, I like do it for a lot of reasons, and it's also just routine at this point. It's habit. But when I was swinging my arms like all day today, my like upper back and like traps were so sore that it was like psyching me out. When I would be doing my arm swings, I'd be feeling the soreness and the pain, and it's just like making me like all of a sudden not want to like just like this is terrible. Like I just feel so sore and tired. How am I supposed to be trying hard right now? So I'm definitely feeling the effects. I'm feeling the scaredness, I guess you could say, set in like, okay, this is gonna be hard. This is not gonna be fun. I like forgot that this is not supposed to be fun. So you're probably gonna be seeing me like struggle a lot with the training coming up. It's been a while since we've done a high volume training phase, and I find that especially over the last few months, like I've sort of talked about, and I also talked about this in like the 100th episode special of the COMPCLIMB that I made, where I sort of gave a bit more insight into my mindset towards competitions these days and just like sort of life context. But my motivation has sort of like gone up and down over the last few months for training and like the past couple of years. And I feel like this whole year over the months, it's sort of been getting higher and higher and higher. And I'm finally at the point again where I'm like psyched to go to like train really hard and like grind out the training. And especially like YouTube is helping with that a lot. And so I'm psyched to go do this high volume training phase, but I haven't done, like, I'm now realizing it's been a while since I felt like this. It's been a while since I've been motivated enough to go do a high volume training phase. And so I forget just how hard it is, and I forget why it's hard to stay motivated to do these, to do this hard training. And that's why, not everybody does it. And so like, basically it's just like, I'm remembering that training is hard, and we've been having a lot of like fun sessions recently because we've been, trying to peak for nationals, and we're just having a lot of fun bouldering sessions. But even just already, I'm like, okay, I don't think I've bit off more than I can chew. But I guess the moral of the story is like these next 4 weeks are going to be hard, and it's going to be nice to sort of just share the whole process of like, because like I like to sort of say that the COMPCLIMB series is about showing the hard training that goes on behind the scenes and a lot of the failures and a lot of the the day-to-day struggles of training at a high level. But we actually haven't been featuring a lot of that recently because we've been in a performance mode, and I've just been having a lot of successes because that's the goal of a performance mode. And so I haven't been showing a lot of the day-to-day failures and the hard training in a while. So we're about to start featuring that. That's what I'm getting at. Is like, this is going to be a really hard month of training. I'm already feeling it. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. My body's hurting. But this is what I want to show. This is like, I want to show what goes into being like training and climbing at like a high level. So I'm excited for this next month of training, but it's going to be really hard to grind it out. But yeah, that wraps up today's day of training. Tomorrow I'm going to have a boulder session in the morning, then we're going to do work in the evening. I don't know where I'm going to boulder yet tomorrow. I got to decide. Probably it'll just be at CR, I think. There's a few new boulders since we bouldered here last. So yeah, you can look forward to a nice boulder session tomorrow. Insert catchy video outro here.